Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Eric May, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from HighGold Mining Inc. Please note, you can submit questions in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view the company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Darwin Green, President and CEO of HighGold Mining Inc., which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol HGMIF, and also on the TSXV under the symbol HIGH. Welcome, Darwin.
Thanks so much for having me. So HighGold, I'll jump right into it. We are focused on a high quality, high grade gold deposit that has good copper and zinc credits located in coastal Alaska. I will be making some forward-looking statements, so please review this slide at your leisure or visit our website for more details. So, just as an intro here, looking at the case for gold and investing in gold equities, we believe it's actually a wonderful time to be investing in this space. There's unbelievable value to be had in the marketplace. There's really a strong gold price happening right now, and the fundamentals suggest continued strong gold price. But what you have right now is a real disconnect between the price of gold and the forecast for the price of gold and the value of the underlying equities, the gold mining stocks and the junior mining explorer stocks like ourselves. And what that has done is it's set up just a really perfect storm for investing in the space where you can get great quality companies, great quality assets at a very discounted price. Can't say when exactly this market's going to return, but it always does. And for those willing to take a punt on a real value opportunity, we think we're a great story. And there's lots of other great stories. The key is identifying companies with the best assets and good management teams. So looking at HighGold directly, it starts with the asset. We've got a wonderful asset. We've got an experienced leadership team. We've got a strong treasury, and we've got a very clear business plan in front of us to create value. And starting with that asset, our Johnson Tract, it's over 1 million ounces gold equivalent. And it's not just high grade, it's over 9 grams per ton gold equivalent, which is very high grade. That grade comes with exceptional mineable widths, upwards of 40 meters. And that's a very attractive combination. We've got tremendous exploration upside. And currently we're evaluating a fairly unique development opportunity, which involves direct shipping ore that has a lot of advantages. And I'll walk you through what those are. And I think it sets us in a bit of a unique space amongst our peers. We have certainty of tenure. We are on Alaska Native owned lands who are pro resource development. Our treasury right now, we're sitting around 4 million cash. We also have about another 1.5 million in marketable securities that we hold. And our business plan really is about unlocking the value and de-risking the project while continuing to grow and find additional mineral resources. So just a quick look at our share structure and treasury. We've got a very clean share structure. And when I mean that is we have virtually no warrants overhanging the stock. We've got 87 million shares outstanding. Our market cap currently is around $28-30 million. This is Canadian numbers. And in terms of who is investing in us, who is endorsing the company in a way with dollars, our single biggest shareholder is a senior gold producer. They're a well-known name in North America. They've took a placement in the company several years back and have been continuing to maintain a 9.9% interest in the project, or in the company, I should say. Franklin Precious Metals Fund, one of the larger precious metals funds in the US, is also a big investor, as well as Equinox Partners and other notable high net worth names in the stock. Who we are, we focus on deposit types that we know well and in jurisdictions that we know well. Myself, I am technical. I've got a master's degree in geology, economic geology. I've been involved in discoveries and advancing projects. A lot of that experience is in Alaska. My team includes Ian Cunningham Dunlop, our senior VP exploration. He's also been involved with multiple discoveries. His biggest would have been the Long Canyon project in Nevada, where the company ultimately got taken over for 2.3 billion. Devin Dembur, he's our VP operations. He's got tremendous experience globally with major producers. Great team. I could go on and on here. And same with our board. We've got a very accomplished board, a very engaged board. We're all pulling on the oars together here. So where we are, we are in Alaska, in a very accessible part of Alaska. Alaska is a very, very big state. And it's one of its challenges is access. There's some great deposits. It's got a great mineral endowment, but some places are hard to get at. That is not our situation. We are located on tidewater in Alaska on the Pacific Ocean. And when you look at operating mines in Alaska, of the 5 big metal mines operating in Alaska, 2 are very analogous to us in that they're boat access only. Our resource, as I say, is a little over 1 million ounces at better than 9 grams gold equivalent at a super fat 40 meters true width. That's in the indicated category, so it's a high confidence resource. We also have copper and zinc, which we think are important elements to have in terms of being critical minerals in today's market. We have clear multi-deposit potential and a local workforce very nearby. So our business plan is really twofold. We think we have something real. We're advancing studies to evaluate a direct shipment mining scenario. At the same time, we've initiated permitting efforts to gain better access to the project, to build a road and get underground exploration ramp into the heart of the deposit. And I'll walk you through those plans. Concurrent with that, we think there's a lot of exploration upside on this project. We've got a very nice deposit to find, but we're also focused on assessing and finding more. And I'll walk you through those opportunities as well here. So on a high level, we call this a high quality asset or a high quality deposit. And what I mean by that, it checks many boxes. First and foremost is grade and thickness. We don't think we have many peers in terms of the combination of grade and thickness that we have. And, that tends to lead to lower cost mining. At high value rock and a very thick deposit makes it cheaper to mine. It's also got ideal geometry for mining. It's very steep, it's subvertical. You can get at it from the bottom and mine your way up. All of these things lend themselves to lower cost mining. The metallurgy is good. What that means is the ability to actually extract the metal from the rock is fairly straightforward. We get high recoveries through a straightforward conventional process to produce quality concentrates that will be desirable. ESG, always important in terms of gaining social license. We are located on Alaska Native Corp lands. We see that as a huge advantage for the project. And it's a feel-good thing too, knowing that revenue from the project will flow directly to Alaska Natives. And as far as jurisdiction goes, Alaska is a wonderful place to be. There's multiple producing mines. In terms of just straight exploration, this is an exciting project. We've generated some of the very best drill intersections globally over the last few years. For 3 years running, we're in the top 10 list of best drill intersections globally. And this is just some of them here. 120 meters of almost 19 grams per ton gold, just shy of 4% zinc, 0.6% copper, 6.4 meters of 578 grams per ton gold, and 2,000 grams per ton silver. This was actually drilled 4 kilometers away from the 120 meter intersection. So we're finding incredible grades over great widths across the property. That bodes well for finding more. It's a fun system to be in. Now to take just a minute here to talk about our relationship with CIRI. They are the Alaska Native Corporation, regional corporation that we're doing business with. We're actually leasing the land from them. Alaska has a very unique history when it comes to native land claim settlements. It was done about 50 years ago. It was incredibly progressive in that they created for-profit corporate entities. There's 12 regional corporate entities that were then able to select lands for their natural resource potential. So collectively, they control about 10% of the acreage of Alaska. And then they were able to develop those resources, and the revenues generated flow directly to the Alaska Native shareholders. And there's a sharing provision such that revenues generated from one Native Corp will flow to the other Native Corp. So it's really attractive. It provides certainty, and I think it's they're leaders in that respect. Um, so DSO, or direct shipment ore, that's what it stands for. It's a bit of a unique scenario for the mining industry for some, although it is being done around the world. And what it means is you mine your project, but you actually process the ore at another site. That could be at existing mines sites, say along the coast in the Pacific Northwest in Alaska and British Columbia, or it could be sending them over to Asia to facilities in Asia. Why we like this, there's multiple reasons. It leads to much lower CapEx. Your upfront capital to build your mine's much lower because you're not building a big mill and tailings storage facility. There's much lower execution risk because it's less complicated. It's also a lot lower environmental impact. It leads to a mine whereby you're using an existing facility elsewhere. Mill and tailings will be stored at an existing already disturbed facility. And at the end of the day, once you're done your mine here, you'll have no surface footprint. The waste rock itself would go back underground for backfill as part of the mining process. There's no long-term legacy issues associated with a mine like this. And ultimately, this should lead to simpler, faster permitting and reduced timelines to get you to production, which, I think in the current marketplace, in the mining sector, mines have taken longer and longer and longer to permit and build. You have these large CapEx projects that become more and more difficult to develop and to get a social license. Projects like these can be developed much quicker. And by example, this is happening in Alaska. So this is not our asset. This is somebody else's asset. It's called Contango and Kinross. Two companies have a joint venture develop the Manh Choh mine, which is located in east central Alaska. They have a resource of similar size and scale to ours. And to be clear, this is something we have no interest in, but we're presenting it as an example, a contemporary example of this type of mining working in Alaska. And you can see the valuation that Contango is getting by doing this for their 30% share of that mine. This was a project that took 2 years from conception to initiate permitting, to receive permits, to start building. They're actually trucking ore to Fort Knox now. They're trucking it 240 miles. So it's not being moved by water like we're proposing. They're trucking it, but it's a good example of this happening in Alaska. And it just highlights the timeline, which is it's just really fast compared to most projects in North America. Our advantage is that marine transport is it's the lowest cost form of transportation. And it really, it's like a highway to the entire world. When you're on the water, you can choose where to go. Once you're on a boat, your costs are low. We've got high grade ore. We've got low cost form of transportation, and it really opens up a lot of opportunities for us. And I think it's established the project as a pretty unique space within the mining sector. And just by example, here's another project that's currently mining in Alaska. Again, we have no interest in this. I'm presenting it just to show you something similar being done in Alaska. It's actually a limestone mine from Southeast Alaska, and they're barging it year round down to Oregon. They're moving 300,000 tons plus a year, moving at 750 nautical miles. And I don't know what the market is for limestone, but I'm sure it's a lot lower than the value of our 9-gram rock. So it's just an example of this working actively now in Alaska. So anyhow, bringing it back to where we are, just a picture of the landscape here. You can see where the property sits, where the deposit sits, and the relatively short access to reach the coast. We'd have to build about 15 miles of road. The Native Corp actually has an easement right. Listen in, or an easement right written into law in federal law. Sorry, I'm reading some notes on the side here that were a bit distracting. So zooming in a little closer on the property, this is what we're envisioning. We're permitting right now a road from camp to a proposed portal site. It would be a little over 1,500 meters to get in and access the bottom of the deposit. This just highlights a little bit of the geography and a bit of what we're looking at to access the deposit. This is the lay of the land in the area. So big, flat, broad valley with lots of room to work with, well suited for infrastructure to support mining, and as you can see, not difficult ground to be developing a mine access road. So what we have right now, we're actually permitting a road from camp there that you can see to the proposed portal site. This year, we intend to initiate permitting of an underground exploration ramp to get ourselves into the deposit. You'd obviously build that to a size and scale that it could be repurposed for actual mine development and production. But for now, we're proposing it for exploration. And this here is a cross section of what that would look like through the mountain. So shown in blue is the trace of that underground exploration ramp that would take you right into the very bottom of the deposit. So the deposit, our resource right now, that 1 million ounces indicated is shown in the dark orange. The purpose of this would be to upgrade the resource to take it to feasibility stage, and also as a platform to keep exploring at depth. We found that chasing this deeper from surface is getting very expensive and very difficult because we have to go high up the mountain to drill down deeper. There's tremendous amount of exploration upside at depth. So really dual purpose. And at the end of the day, the money you put into this would be like a down payment on your future mine, in terms of this being infrastructure that you would need should you make a decision to proceed to production. So that's sort of the advanced stage type exploration work we're doing to de-risk the project. At the same time, we're doing engineering work, scoping level engineering work to understand mine design plans and how you would actually develop this as a mine. Now, moving to the exploration side of the equation, shown here is a map of the property. We have a mineral trend that's over 10 kilometers in length with multiple prospects shown here in the sort of red hatched pattern there. And the yellow dots are the various prospects and large alteration zones. We like the upside on this property. We like that we've hit a very similar style and type of mineralization at Ellistone, 4 kilometers north of the main Johnson Tract deposit. That proves that the same style, which is a very unique style of mineralization, is present elsewhere on the property. And it really highlights the exploration opportunity here. And, our first couple of years as a company was very much focused on Johnson Tract itself. Now we're starting to go a little further afield and explore some of these other prospect areas. And one of the things we did last summer is we flew a detailed airborne geophysical survey. It was called a mobile MT survey. We've processed that data, and we've just recently got these figures back, and we're seeing some really interesting things emerge from the data. And what you see here is the JT deposit and the Ellis zone are clearly part of one multi-kilometer long trend. This geophysics appears to pick up the alteration that you see adjacent and surrounding the deposits. And it's not a direct detect for the mineralization itself, but clearly it's part of a big system here. And we think there's very high odds of finding more along this trend that's highlighted in that dashed yellow area. What we also see in this data coming out that's pretty exciting and interesting is to the west and to the northwest are sort of two bullseye-like targets. And what we see here is big, broad alteration zones that have the signature of an intrusive driver to them. Whether it's a porphyry system or something similar, we're not sure. But they're deeper in the stratigraphy, and for geologists, this is pretty meaningful because they're probably driving a lot of the more epithermal-like mineralization we're seeing higher up section. So it bodes well for finding big tonnage type mineral systems at those areas. And Easy Creek, which is furthest to the north, it checks all the boxes. We've got a really nice gold copper signature on top of that. It's never been drilled. We're quite excited about that one. So, zooming in just a little bit at one of these other prospect areas, this is just a long section for what we call the Ellis Zone. It's at the DC prospect. We now have 8 holes, so better than what we call 100 gram meters. That's the kind of combination of grade times width. So you can have 1 gram over 100 meters, or you could have 10 grams over 10 meters, or 100 gram over 1 meter. It does the same thing. And the idea is here, it's a good metric to say you're into a very significant system. Still quite early days for us here. It hasn't quite blown up as fat as we'd like so far, but we really like what it tells us about DC prospect as a whole, and we're quite excited about this area and to be drilling there again. So, just to kind of sum things up here, our key value drivers and milestones for the company ahead. We think we're onto something with this DSO option for the property, and we're getting serious on it. We spun out all our Canadian assets in a new company last year to allow us to focus 100% on Johnson Tract, and tied to that is this evaluation. So we're initiating scoping level evaluation work and mine design. We're evaluating offsite milling facility alternatives, developing relationships both across the Pacific and domestically in Alaska, and looking at the logistics and infrastructure required such that we can be in a place that we can speak authoritatively about that as an option. And we really like what we're seeing so far there. We like it a lot. Concurrent with that, we want to advance the permitting and de-risk the project. That's going to include getting this access road to the portal that we expect here very soon. We initiated that last May. It's gone smoothly. Includes the ability to expand the airstrip for commercial sized aircraft, and also the road to the portal itself. Concurrent with that is getting ourselves ready with the idea of submitting a permit or launching the permit application for underground exploration itself. And in the meantime, we're fine tuning our targets for drilling, integrating this new geophysical work into the program, and focused on brand new discoveries as well as growing our existing resources. We haven't yet made a decision for the scope and scale of a drill program for next summer. We've got some time to think about that. In the meantime, we're enhancing those ideas. And so with that, that's the presentation. I think I'll answer a few questions. I see there's a few questions have come in. So I see here one question: are there any deleterious elements in the potential concentrate? It's a very good question, particularly when you're focused on when you have a gold with a polymetallic deposit with copper and zinc. Sometimes they can come with deleterious elements. What that means is things like arsenic and antimony that the smelters don't want to see, and will basically you get a penalty for, and it's less desirable. And I can confidently say we don't have any. It is a very, very clean concentrate, a very attractive concentrate, and that means something. One of the companies was that previously we ended up doing a joint venture with Japan's largest zinc smelting company, and I helped negotiate that agreement. I was doing the exploration and negotiating the agreements. And one thing I saw there, once they saw the quality of our concentrate, there was no turning back. They were very, very excited about that project. So we feel we'll have lots of parties interested in our concentrate. I got another question here on how to prepare underground ore for DSO. And there's a couple of different ways. You can look at something like Mancho, which is Contango, going to Fort Knox. There, I believe they're just mining and putting the raw ore right in the trucks, not crushing it at all, and sending it to the Fort Knox mine and mill. And it's quite interesting. That was a high sulfide deposit, high grade, high sulfide deposit going to a mine, which was a very large scale open pit, low grade mine, and quite a different processing facility. They actually upgraded and changed their milling facility to process that ore there. So I highlight that to highlight that you'd be surprised where ore can go when it's there's an economic advantage for the mill to take it. For us, the way I envision for us, it would be pretty simple. Probably just a coarse crush There's not a lot of cost to a coarse crush. And then what we would likely be looking at is putting them into rotating containers, which allows for easy transport and simplicity, and it means all of the ore is contained. But some of those details are yet to be fully fleshed out, but that's what we're envisioning right now. I've got another question here on the exploration ramp. What size, and could it serve as a production ramp? Approximate CapEx. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to put the effort to put this in, we're designing it for exploration. That's its current purpose. But you'd be silly not to be considering that it could be repurposed for an actual mining scenario. So it doesn't cost you that much more to build it out a bit larger. So that's what we're doing. We're going to sort of 5 by 5 meters or 5 by 5.5 meters is what we're currently imagining. So for sure, it could absolutely serve as a production ramp. And in some ways, you can almost look at it as a down payment on your future mine CapEx build, but you're putting it in for exploration because you haven't made a decision to proceed with mining. The going rate for that sort of development in terms of cost per meter of development is anywhere from $500 a meter to $10,000 a meter. We think we'd be 7,500 to 8,000 in that range, and for 1,800 meters of development, you can do the math there. There's obviously some mobilization costs and those sorts of things. Yeah, and I see I'm rapidly running out of time here. I see one question. Let's see here. How long has McEwen been an investor, and what attracted him to invest? He's been an investor actually since the formation of the company, and he's held his stock and he's exercised his warrants. We keep him updated on our progress. He's been a long time supportive shareholder, and I think he likes grade and good projects. And we've got a high grade project, and it's a personal investment by him. But I can't really speak for him directly. I say the last question, it's really a question that has to do with our capital and to support our 2024 plans. We certainly have enough capital right now to advance all of the de-risking activities we're looking at, the permitting type process for getting underground and so a variety of assessment and engineering type work. We would have to put more cash in the till to have an aggressive drill program. And I think right now we're cautious about overly diluting ourselves in the current market. That said, if it makes sense, if you find the right shareholder that is a long-term supporter that will add value, it's something we'd consider. But we're in a good position in terms of our overall capital and comfort zone compared to a lot of our peers. Would I like more cash? Sure, you always do as a CEO, but we're in good shape. So anyhow, I think that about does it. Thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to present our story and get this engagement from shareholders and potential shareholders to be. And if anybody has any follow-up questions, please do reach out to myself or Nicole. For those that don't know Nicole Holler, she's our VP IR. Wonderful woman. She came over from a recent success with Sabina Gold, who were bought out by B2 Gold. So reach out to us anytime, and thank you very much. Take care.